Yo, what is going down, everybody? It is that time once again. We are here to bring you a brand new Am I Still on the Air? And you know what it is when we come together for these Am I Still on the Airs, there's usually a spoiler review involved. And that's what we're here for tonight. You can see it there at the bottom. It is the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the new #1 movie in the world. And you know we love our Marvel movies. So it's time once again that we assemble and we take you through the spoiler review. It's time to really break this baby down, and we got a lot to talk about. So again, it is spoilers. So make sure you know, if you haven't seen the movie yet, bookmark this video or the podcast. Circle back around when you've seen the movie. Okay. This is Am I on the Air once again. Make sure you follow right there. And I, ladies and gentlemen, in DX DONMEGA, I am your humble host, and so glad that you're here to join us tonight as we go live on our YouTube channel and we're ready to rock and roll. So let me bring it in because, as always, you know, we don't do this show alone. When we do our big Am I Still on the Airs, we do spoiler reviews. We always got to bring in the guest. We always got to bring in the peeps. So let's go ahead and bring one right in right now. And that's Peeps right here. What's up?
Hey, DX, thanks for having me. I think this is going to be ridiculously fun. I think we're going to have potentially 3 different opinions on this one. That's my
We've had that before. Usually it's like not the MCU though. Usually we're talking about DC, or we're talking about, you know, Venom, or we're talking about something kind of in the Elseworlds.
Sure.
Maybe not in the 616. But tonight we're curious to see how it goes. And let's round out the trifecta here of the Red Dragons assembling. And that, of course, is our boy Frigginz.
Hey,
welcome to the show.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. I am still on the air right now, and I'm hoping and happy rather that all of you guys are listening in and still on the air with us. So excited to talk about this one. I agree with Peeps. We may even have multiple versions of ourselves having multiple opinions of the film popping in here. So we'll see how it goes.
Going to be a multiverse of opinions? I don't know. We're going to find out here. So, of course, this is the spoiler review once again. We will kind of kick things off as we always do with kind of overall thoughts, and we'll kind of ease our way on in. And then, of course, as you know, if you've seen these before, we break down the things that we didn't like, the things that we did like. At the end of the show, I love it because we always break down our full Marvel Cinematic Universe countdown. And now we're up to 28 movies. So we got 28 films that we'll be ranking, and we got to see where does the Multiverse of Madness going to fall in the overall ranking. You never know. And that's what's always the fun part, because we're all over the place when it comes to these rankings. So we'll be happy to see kind of if we're aligned or if we're way off or where we go from here. So if you're listening or watching live on our YouTube channel right now, you know, jump into the conversation, add your comments, and we'd love to interact with you guys on here as always. So all right, with that all being said, so like we said, man, let's just talk overall thoughts. So this is where, you know, like I said, we take you back. Opening night, we go in, we're hyped of excitement, we watch the movie, we come out, we haven't really marinated on it, we're just we're in that heat of that moment, right out the theater. How do we feel? So Frigginz, I'm gonna throw it to you first. Take us away. What is the overall thoughts going into the Multiverse of Madness?
I have to admit, I was kind of hoping you guys would go first, because when I walked out, I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know. Okay, yeah, but I felt a little perplexed, I think is the best description I could use. Lots of fun, exciting moments, super cool things I never seen before, things I never thought I would see before, things I saw in an MCU that I thought I never would see an MCU film before. And just, I was really all over the place. And I feel like this is a similar pattern to what I've been experiencing with the Phase 4 scenario, of where I'm not quite sure what's happening. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it was a mixture of a good confusion, like a mixture of like these surprised emotions, a mixture of maybe a slight disappointment, but at the same time still had a lot of fun. So I found myself thinking, I need to slow down and I really need to think about this and see what I didn't even know what to think. I was so all over the place with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's okay. Peeps, I know Peeps dropped his Marvel Cinematic Monday today and talked a little Multiverse of Madness. I started to listen to the episode, only listened to the Moon Knight part, and then I stopped it because I wanted to go into this kind of fresh. I didn't want to be tainted already by thoughts or things I heard on this show.
Sure.
So I paused. I will resume at another time. So I'm going to throw it to you. So what are the overall reactions walking out of the theater?
Oh man, I'm right there with Frigginz. My experience throughout the movie, I had a bunch of highs and laughter and moments where I legitimately jumped, and I enjoyed myself. I had a great time. But then when I left the theater, I Frigginz didn't want to talk after the movie. Normally we, sit in the parking lot and you talk for like a good 20 minutes to an hour about the movie. And Frigginz was just like, you know what, Peeps, I'm out. I don't want to talk to you. So, no, I was kidding. He had to go. But no, I really wanted to, and I know DX, whenever I say this to you, you're just like, I don't understand you. I wanted to gather my thoughts. Like I had so many thoughts going on in my brain, and I just needed to just kind of sit down and think about it and think about why a character would do a specific thing and what the direction was and what they wanted to do. And like Frigginz said, where they're leading or where they're going. Because at the end of this, I'm like, where are they going? And after some thought, I now have a feeling where they're going, and I have a better idea now, definitely how I feel about the movie. But going at like right after the movie, I was like, man, that was a great movie, but I need to sleep on it. So yeah, definitely had a blast though. No doubt. I screamed a lot in that theater. That did happen.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're right, Peeps. I mean, that logic never crosses my brain. Typically, after walking out of a movie, and I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook and stuff be like, "I really need to gather my thoughts on this. I really need to marinate on it." And I'm like, "Did you like the fucking movie or not? Like, I don't see what there is to marinate on this. Like, you either liked it or you didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say, because I did just watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that's a movie where I could be like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I just watched, and I need to kind of marinate on it. That I get.
So
Doctor
similar.
Strange, I don't know. So, but hey, so here's my thing. So, this is a movie that has been a long time coming, right? I mean, this movie was supposed to be out last year, and of course COVID happened, and there's been a lot of changes in this. It was originally supposed to be directed by Scott Derrickson again, who did the first movie, and he left for creative differences because he was like, yo, Marvel kind of wants to make one movie, I want to make something different, and we can't really come together on it, so I'm going to stay on as a producer, but I'm going to go make the Black Phone instead, right? So he's got this other movie coming out this summer, which does look great. Ethan Hawke horror movie, looks great. But yeah, he leaves, right? And then Sam Raimi gets brought in, and you're like, wow, that's really interesting pick. Never really thought I'd see Sam Raimi kind of back in the comic book world, right? Did the first trilogy of Spider-Man movies. Great director. Hey man, they're talking about bringing Darkman back too, so I'm excited about that.
They should after this.
Sequel. I know, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sam Raimi, of course, Evil Dead, all the kind of stuff, and you're like, okay, but they always said from the beginning when they announced this title in the Multiverse of Madness, they said this will be our first kind of foray into horror, which also made sense when Scott Derrickson was doing it because he's a horror director, and it was like, okay, cool, I know the direction they kind of want to go in. Sam Raimi kind of keeping that flow. Like we said, COVID kind of happened, pushed everything back. They got delayed again. The movie was originally supposed to come out again in March this past year. And then we all joked that the Batman trailer dropped and they were like, get it out of here, March.
Nope.
Out 2 weeks after the Batman. So they moved it to May, because originally May was Thor Love and Thunder's release date. So they all kind of shuffled and dominoed kind of down. So there's been so much hype, right? Like we've been waiting for this movie. This is the first big MCU film of 2022, and we're just, we're like, where's it gonna go, right? The multiverse has started. Kevin Feige has confirmed that this is all possible because of the end of Loki, by the way. So just to kind of create timelines for everybody, the Loki and Sylvie thing happened. He who not, shall not remain named. He was taken out the mix. He was killed. The branches happened. The multiverse started opening up. That continued into the spell from No Way Home. And then that led into this. So without the Loki episode, none of this is even possible. So it is all connected. It is very interesting. Like sometimes we do look at Phase 4 and we go, what the hell's happening? Like, what is the overall picture here, right? All the other phases were kind of very clear on where we were going. We were getting to Thanos, all this kind of stuff. And like here, it's like, we're getting to Kang, maybe. Like this is maybe where we're going. I don't know. We're going to Secret Wars. I don't know. Like there's so many different possibilities, but it has felt like a very loose phase. But obviously, Feige, we trust. We know that there's a bigger picture here. So finally it gets here. Tickets go on sale a month ago. It's hard as hell to get a damn ticket, and we're going through the Spider-Man thing all over again. Yeah, it took me like 6 hours to get tickets for this thing with sites crashing and everything going on. But finally secured it. We've been waiting. Then that trailer came out and we hear a little distinctive voice and we're like, holy shit, was that Professor X? Right? And then things start hyping even to another level. And when we talk about theories, right? This movie was so chock full of theories. I mean, there was no way everybody was going to get everything they wanted in this movie, because I mean, there's been the funny memes on there that just have like every character from every Marvel movie, and it's like, what everybody expected Multiverse of Madness to be. Like we were just going to bump into Ben Affleck's Daredevil, and we were going to have Jennifer Garner's Elektra in there. We're going to have
Jessica Biel pop up.
Just it was just going to be everybody everywhere all at once, right? Like Deadpool was going to pop up. I mean, it was just going to be insane. So we were wondering, like, where is this thing gonna go? Our hype levels were so crazy. So it's a gift and a curse, because it's always so much fun to go to the movies with super hype, but then it also creates that like, oh shit, what if this doesn't live up to it, right? So I will say, like, going into it, it starts. When I walked out, like I loved it, man. I love this movie. It was pretty much everything I wanted it to deliver on. Is there things I wanted more of? Sure. Were there some surprises I was kind of expecting that didn't happen? Tom Cruise as Iron Man, like things that did not happen. I wanted that superior Iron Man. It would have been cool for one movie. I was ready for it. And I was waiting. And Tony Stark. No, it didn't happen, unfortunately.
If that would have been Tom Cruise, he'd have been like, I want an actual Iron Man suit, and I want to be able to fly on it for real.
They could have done that. They could have done.
They would have done it.
Make it happen. They got Disney money. That's true.
Exactly. They would have made it happen for him. But yeah, no, I was super stoked coming out of it. Really, really happy, really pleased, and really happy that my daughter made it through it, because I wasn't sure how this one was going to play out. Like I heard, obviously when tickets went on sale, I bought tickets for everybody, right? The whole fam went to this one. And then the early kind of press screenings started coming out, and I saw a lot of reviews that were like, this is the scariest movie of all of them. Like there's a lot of horror elements. This movie is borderline rated R, like all this stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to take my 8-year-old to this movie. Like, I don't know how this is gonna play. And I kind of warned her the night before. I was like, hey, I heard this movie might be a little scary, so just kind of be prepared. If you need to duck into my shoulder, go ahead and do it. And she was like, okay, she brought a little stuffed animal just in case, so she could block her face if she needed. But she made it through, man. And when we walked out, she was like, that was great. Like, she's like, when can we go watch it again? And I was like, okay, because I mean, there was some death in this thing, and we'll talk about it. I was shocked, because there were moments she did jump a couple times, but made it through like a champ, and we had a great time. And I saw it on that preview night. You guys saw it on the preview night too, but the preview night on Thursday, May 5th, and we had a great crowd, man. This crowd was popping literally for everything. Like, I mean, even when the trailers were on, that Avatar 2 trailer came on, everybody's all, woo!
Really?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was great.
That sounds fun.
It was great, dude. Like, I mean, literally, I love having crowds like that.
Yeah,
That are just
high
super,
energy
like
is amazing.
cheering,
Yeah.
high energy. I
Oh,
mean, just
man.
audible responses to everything in the movie. It was great. It was great, especially like the post credits. Like some people tried to get up and leave, and people were like, "Sit back down, you're gonna miss it." Like, you know, and it was awesome. But yeah, overall thoughts, absolutely loved it. I cannot wait to see it again. I really wanted to go again a second time over the weekend, but just with Mother's Day and everything, it was just too crazy of a weekend. So hopefully we'll go again maybe this weekend. I really want to go again and see it in 3D. I hear the 3D version of this is incredible, and I really think this would be the movie to go check it out and pop those
I didn't
glasses
even know
on.
they still did movies.
Yeah, I haven't
They-
seen one in so long, and this one definitely
Yes.
seems like that would be. I remember seeing like Ant-Man in 3D, and that
Yeah.
one surprisingly was done really, really well in 3D. So I could
Yeah.
see this one taking it to the next level because there's so much color and
so much,
you know, craziness
And just
things
That
happening.
fight with
Yeah.
Gargantos,
Yeah, that would be
Dude.
cool.
Yeah, and so the first, I saw the first movie in 3D and it was incredible. And I was watching a thing with Kevin Feige, who said the original Doctor Strange in 3D was the best 3D version movie they've ever done. And then
wow.
he was like, he said this one like ties it, like really tops the cake, like of just 3D movies. So I'm really would hope to see it. Unfortunately, my wife is kind of anti 3D, and my daughter wears glasses, so she's kind of against 3D. So, so I don't know if I could convince everybody to do it, but I really want to see this in 3D, at least before it leaves theaters. So, all right. So then that's kind of the overall thoughts. So let's get into it, guys. Let's kind of start kind of grinding in. And of course, we always like to get the negative out the way first. So we'll go in with the what didn't we like? And I would like to start this one off and with a couple things that I had down. And I'm going to start with one very simple question. Where the fuck was Vision? That's just that's a very open-ended question. A couple different things here when it comes to Vision. We have a white Vision that we know is flying around somewhere that has all the memories of the original Vision. So where the hell was he? He should have been in this movie. That's where he should have been. Secondly, when we're talking about all these other universes and Wanda's kids and all this stuff, why wasn't she looking for another version of Vision? Like, this is like her love, right? Like, it was so important to get her kids back, but she was just like, fuck that dude. Like, why did we not search for another multiverse version of Vision that she could reunite with that would complete her? You know, we forget that, I mean, WandaVision turned into a lot of it dealing with the kids, but the whole original concept of it was her and Vision, like her bringing Vision back and just settling down and having this life with him, you know, alone, away from the craziness. So it really leaves me to believe, where the hell was he, right? The regular Vision, another multiverse version of Vision, the white Vision. Who the hell was the baby daddy of the kids? Like, I want to know these details, right? Like, these kids exist in all these different versions, but where's Vision, or who's the baby daddy? Like, I really wanted some more kind of closure around this.
Aren't
and I
all
think
kids
Vision,
created with magic, Don?
not necessarily. But yeah, so that's a big one for me, and you guys can elaborate on that one. Another big one for me was the typical power trope that America Chavez went through, right? Where we have a 2-hour movie of her, I can't use my powers, I don't know how to do it. And then at the very end of the movie, she's a master at it in 2 seconds because Doctor Strange said, you could do it, just believe in yourself. And she's like, yeah, you're right. Punch a star through the universe. And like, and then she's like bouncing around through universes and she's got all full control over it. Like, that drove me nuts because they've done that in movies so many times, and I can't stand that trope of someone being like, I'm 18 years old and I've never been able to figure this out, but just because someone believes in me, all of a sudden I got it. Like, and it's not only like, oh, I kind of figured out how to use it. It's like, no, now I can go to wherever Doctor Strange is and I'll bust through that universe and get him, and then I'm going to pop up on the mountainside and I'm going to save them, and I'm going to go back to Carmitage over here and get them. like she just, it was a master at it. Like, no problem. She could fight Wanda. Like, it was too much for me.
So I gotta equate this to some rock climbing. All right. So I do rock climbing, right? And go off to these routes that are like really, really hard. Everything's rated. So you have this like hard climb, and you can get like 5 or 6 people all trying to work the same problem, and no one can figure it out, and everyone's falling off of it. And finally, one person gets it and it clicks. And then everyone after that will just start going after. We call it a send train. And so you get the send train going, and everybody just starts getting to the top. Boom, 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 boom. And all it takes is that one change of thought, that one thing that like clicks, and everyone says, "Oh, I see it now." And so I think that's what Doctor Strange did for her. Is he flipped that switch, and she said, "Oh, I see it now," and she was able to climb that mountain and get to the top by punching Scarlet Witch.
Not just that, but you have to understand, like, she's a kid, and that same power in her mind killed her parents. So she has this like doubt, and she doesn't want to use the power again, because what if she does something equally as bad? So
She's
she
holding
doesn't
back.
want to get to know her powers, because in her mind it's a bad thing.
But I do see.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Like she straight up was just like, I can't control it, like the whole time. It wasn't, I don't want to use it because I'm scared. She never said that. She was like, I can't control it. I don't know how to control it. I don't know. I only seem to open portals when I'm scared. Like, you know, like she that was the whole problem for me, was that she was very adamant on the whole, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to use it. And then all of a sudden, of course, in the big battle at the end, she's a master. Like, and I just don't like that flip. Like, and I understand for time's sake, you know, like we already have a 2-hour movie. Like, we're not going to sit here with a montage of her trying to learn. But
Like
it would have been
training.
nice. It would have been nice to maybe earlier in the movie to see Strange working with her on it. Like, hey, envision this and try this. And maybe she's like, you know, kind of like the whole thing. Like, maybe she starts to open it, you know, and then she's
Think
like, oh,
pizza balls.
I can't control it. I can't control it. Don't try again. Focus, you know, focus your mind, you know, and then, okay. Like, and then she finally clicks it at the end, you know. That would have almost made more sense than just the whole like the whole movie of like, wait, I just randomly go places, and like, and then it's like, well, you need to control it right now. Okay, I got this. Like, you know, so I did like the okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you're not wrong about it being a trope that's used over and over and over. That much I will give you. Like, regardless of whatever explanation you put on there to excuse it, movies do that all the time.
Yeah, especially superhero movies.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use my power. How many times have we seen that in TV shows and movies? I did like, though, kind of the roundabout connection at the end, though, of you know, that you know, hey, if you think about it, your powers have always taken you where we needed to go, kind of a thing, that she was kind of subconsciously, you know, aiming it right, you know, and just wasn't, you know, even though she didn't know she was controlling it. But like, I like that kind of connection of like, think about it, every time we jumped, we went somewhere we needed to be on this journey.
Yeah,
you know,
and I actually thought about that during the movie. I'm like, of the multiverse, how did she know to go to the one that has the one Scarlet Witch that's going after her? Like, that's a little too convenient, movie, but they touch on that, so I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah, very much so. And then just really the last note that I have is I wanted more. I had it in my mind that this movie was going to finally give us our mutants, right? And understand mutants and where it comes from. And I expected this moment like between Professor X and Wanda, where he was like, let me explain to you, let me tap into your mind and tell you what and show you what you're missing, right?
But you are.
You know, and I was like, come on, here it comes, and nothing. Like, we didn't mention mutants again. That word was not uttered. It just, that was a disappointment for me, because I really felt like they were going to go the route of like, let there be mutants, and it was going to be this whole, you know, big thing, the whole big boom that was going to bring it into the world and into the MCU. And none of that really happened, and that was unfortunate. So just, there's a minor gripe there just for me personally on the mutant side. Since we finally got Professor X in here, I felt they were going to tie it in with Wanda, and we didn't get that. So but those are my 3 big gripes. So Vision, mutants, and the power trope with America. So I'll throw it over to you, Frigginz. What were some of the things that maybe we did not like coming out of this?
Well, I think the number one thing that I didn't like was really the fact that I felt that there was no direction of what's going. And maybe there is. And maybe we have to like read the other reports of like Kevin Feige explains the direction of the phase 4. Like, but that's kind of also part of the complaint is when we were watching the other films as it started, it was kind of like intro, and then we're going to start bleeding them together into this like direction of where we're going with it. And so those were explained movie to movie to movie. And although a lot of the individual movies had their own points and storylines, it also connected into something bigger that was happening. So I really struggle with this concept of where are we with phase 4? What is phase 4 all about? And maybe that's more so a complaint of the phase as opposed to the film, but I feel like this film didn't help me understand what the future is anymore. So
That's not fair.
please explain. I'm curious. Like I
So in the first phase of Marvel, we saw Thanos. So we knew something was leading with something with Thanos, but we didn't know what exactly. We knew a pretty much idea of where they could potentially go, but we didn't know where they were, as you were saying, going.
so
And if this phase is going to work in the same trilogy that the normal phases were, like we still got 2 more phases to go before we're going to get to that big event that you're saying that we're building to, right? So like we're still in the first phase of this. I don't know if we can.
but I think that the phase 1 was about introductions. And so we have the introductions for all the different Avengers, then the introductions of the Avengers themselves teaming up, and then the introduction of Thanos. So everything was for introducing and setting up where we're going next. And this phase I've struggled with, where like Black Widow was a prequel, Shang-Chi, amazing intro. I'm thinking, okay, we're starting over. Here's the intros. But then we go into like all the MCU films, and then now, or I'm sorry, TV shows, and then I can't even remember what else. Oh, Eternals. Who cares about that?
Introduction though. That's also an introduction movie.
Is like his own side thing. I felt like that wasn't even connected in any way.
That's Earth 424.
Yeah,
so we don't have to worry about that one.
No one's even addressed the giant like celestial being stuck in the.
No one knows it exists. It's like there's a big cloud that's covering it.
Yeah.
It's been
I'm just
cloudy.
feeling like if it is a phase 4 redo or a phase 1 redo, a slow build, I feel like they're going a little too slow. Give me a little bit more speed to it, or at least throw in those 1 or 2 sentences to help kind of set us up. And plus, we're also at a point where we can move past that slow phase 1 introductions as viewers. If you think about like where it started, when you start with Iron Man, you had to ground it in realistic. That's why Iron Man was kind of first, because the audience wasn't ready for Multiverse of Madness. And we built to that point. And I think we now, as the audience, think about everything we were looking forward to as Doctor Strange. We were looking forward to the multiverse. We were looking forward to the other characters that were going to pop up and how that impacted. And so I think that this, especially with the trailer, builds so much overhype for all the things our imagination is wanting and grasping for, but it didn't really deliver. So that carries into my second complaint, is that I feel like it didn't deliver fully on what was promised through the trailer or whatever. That was a big bummer. And part of the trailer overhype, I think, shows too much. I mean, the fact that they told us Professor X was in it. Can you imagine the impact that would have had if you did not know that he was going to show up? If we hadn't heard his voice and we hadn't seen that yellow with the green suit in the trailer, can you just imagine how that would have made you feel? I would have been a blubbering mess. I mean, that could have been one of the best, surprise cameos of all time. But c'est la vie. So that was another thing. I'll make 2 more points and then I'll be done with my complaints. But I think I find it funny.
Marketing, buddy. Marketing.
I know.
Got to get the butts in seats.
I was going to say the fact that they announced that
the
Professor
logic.
X was in there was probably a big reason why they made so much money.
Because that they gave you a little taste of like you're gonna see some cool cameos, and we're just gonna give you a taste. They put in a little recognizable voice so we could all speculate, and then they let it ride, and then we were like, "Damn, if he's in it, what else?" Right? Because then as soon as we knew he was in it, that's where all the mutant talk came. That's where we're like, "Oh, they're connecting it. She's gonna be a mutant. She's gonna da da da." Like it really helped raise that.
Sells itself. It sells itself at that point.
You're
That gave him another $100 million.
This is, if I was complaining about Phase 4, I would say all the focus on making us hype in our heads and all the speculation, I feel like is at the highest level it's ever been. But anyway, getting back to this film, one of the biggest complaints about Marvel movies is across the board is they say your hero fights a copy of himself as the bad version, right? And I thought it was kind of hilarious when I'm sitting here watching Doctor Strange literally fight Doctor Strange. I know the big bad was Scarlet Witch, but it was just funny to see they took it to another level of not just having a bad version of of a similar version of the main hero, but they literally have the main hero fighting the main hero from a different timeline. So that I thought that was kind of funny.
So that was a bad thing?
It made me laugh, but in a way it's kind of bad too, because I thought that fight was amazing. Don't get me wrong, so one of my favorite parts of the film, but at the same time, it also, in some respects, I could argue that it was taking away from the overall main fight that was supposed to. I found the fight of Doctor Strange versus Doctor Strange actually more entertaining and cooler than the fight with Scarlet Witch at the end. So I feel like maybe could have been handled a little differently. And then the last thing I'll note is my biggest frustration with the film is I think that Marvel is not. So before I felt like they would set a precedent and they would stick to it and they'd follow through with these things. And I feel like now that we're not capturing any precedents that are being set, and I'm super confused about the rules of the world. And what I mean by that is when I see Loki and we talk about variants and we talk about alternate timelines that are created. Peeps, you are, he's laughing at me because we kind of had this discussion a little bit already. So if I go left instead of going right, that creates the variant version of me. And supposedly these variant versions are going to be so drastically different that I could be an alligator version of me. I could be a female version of me. I can be, whatever, any different versions. If you look at Loki, I feel like that to me was setting the precedent that a multiverse or other variations or whatever can be all these different things of a character. But then when we come to this film, all the multi-versions of each character that we saw were exact duplicate copies of that character on the opposite side of the spectrum. So we saw Doctor Strange facing other exact copies of Doctor Strange. His hair was different. His costume was different, but it was still
he had a third eye.
Yeah, but he wasn't an alligator. He wasn't, there was something weird, when
you got a different Captain Marvel, we had a different version of Black Bolt.
That Black Bolt's the same one for the TV show. Professor X was
but
basically
his
the same
suit
thing.
was totally different, which means he's another version.
Okay,
he was the more comic accurate version.
I just feel like I'm confused with the rule.
Agent Carter.
Is it variant? Like in Loki, where it could be any number of things as a different version of me, or is it like in Doctor Strange where those variants have to be exact copies of me, just in maybe with a different hairstyle? So I don't understand.
There's
what the
so
rule
many
is.
universes, it don't matter.
But
some universes you're the same. Yeah, some universes you're different. Look at Spider-Man, right? We got the Tobey Maguire,
right?
Parker. We got the Andrew Garfield, Peter
Absolutely.
Parker.
That's part of the problem, is because Spider-Man fit the precedent that was set by Loki, but it's not fitting.
But even
Dr.
presidential
Strange.
Loki was still Tom Hiddleston, Fred. You're not every
so you
single
can
variant wasn't different.
Absolutely, you can have some, but why is it that we're seeing every version of Wanda that we saw was exactly like Wanda? Every version
just
of
one version of Wanda.
You should have been different. I just think it made me think. Okay, so is this telling
time
me
for that? You're talking about a TV show that had 6 or 7 episodes, and then comparing it to a 2-hour
like a long movie.
Come on.
I feel
We got
like
different versions. I think the whole Illuminati that we got different versions. Like, so
I
that
feel
was
like
your
the
just
precedent
have
was
another
set.
Wanda that's played by Whoopi Goldberg, and you'd be happy.
Yes, give me that. I want to see that. Or
Right,
like
because that would create no questions with you.
one of the other Stranges could have looked completely different. Could have been something totally different. Like I'm the Doctor Strange of this, and it would then follow suit with the precedent being set by both Loki and
Defender Strange had a ponytail.
It confused me. It made me wonder what are the rules. So is variations different than multiverse?
His magic was blue when he did it,
which looked really
variant,
cool, by the way.
Variant. I'm just saying.
It's true. I see here in the comments, it did not have the budget for 50 different cameos. You're
There
right.
you go. There you go.
But I'm telling you, they had a pretty good budget because those graphics were dope. But anyway, I digress. Those are some of my complaints with it. I could go on a little bit more, but I'll pass the mic.
All right, Peeps, take it away. You love this segment.
I do. I do. And man, like I just biting my tongue. It's very difficult with Frigginz sometimes because one person I can just wrap my hands around his throat, but it's a little bit it's a little different when I want to let him finish. Yeah, he's a cyborg, so it doesn't matter. He doesn't really breathe. So
no emotions.
But yes. So with DX, I'll say that I like that trope. Being a fan of anime is tons of I didn't have the power until I conveniently have the power. So I liked not just that, but I liked that they didn't go with the classic, like Frigginz was saying, strange versus strange, big battle, lasers going all over the place. There's a big laser going in the sky. The solve was having America realize her own power. Those that know her in the comics knows that it is not just opening up a hole of reality. She can do a whole lot more other stuff. Probably 3 other things, but this is just the beginning of her realizing her power. But I like that they solved the big bad problem with the big villain with just a window. Hey, this is what we saw. This is what you could have, and then the other Wanda going up to the other Wanda and just kind of putting her hand on her shoulder, like, "Yo, I'm gonna keep them safe. I got this. You can go ahead and kill yourself. We're good," or whatever. I don't know. I like that. It was a good, interesting way, I think, to resolve the ultimate villain in the story. Frigginz, with your I want to know where they're going. I don't want to know where they're going. I think they're doing the thing that they do, and maybe they don't know where they're going, but they are doing a great job at planning little pieces here and there. I mentioned on my podcast that I think they're going, and this movie specifically is leading towards Secret Wars, with Clea talking about an incursion and what incursions mean to the disaster of other potential multiverses. That's where I think they're going with this movie. But we know that Secret Invasion is coming up as well. We know that Kang is also a thing that's lurking around. We know what dangers lie ahead. You can't say you don't, because we do. But it's like you want to know, you want a title for phase 4 or phase 7 Avengers that says, the end all be all X-Men versus Avengers type thing. Okay, that's where then we're going to have our expectations. Well, they have to do this and they have to do that. So I don't want to know where they're going, but they're doing enough for me to keep. They're dangling that carrot on the end of the stick for me. So that's my thing with that. I agree, Frigginz. A thing I didn't like is I think what they told us in the initial trailer wasn't what they gave us in the movie. They made it seem like Doctor Strange's actions from Spider-Man created this multiversal crash. Yes. It's that moment, he walks outside and he looks Strange, what have you done?
Exactly.
You have to fix this, and
so misleading.
Wanda, I need your help.
Because you have the Wong voiceover being like, why did you cast that spell?
Yeah.
From Spider-Man, and it's like, what have you done? You need to fix it. Yeah. It had nothing to do with Spider-Man.
Nothing to do with that. There's there's just a conversation in a diner about what he did
Yeah.
in Spider-Man, and that was it. You have a Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Great.
Does he look like a spider?
Should he shoot webs out his butt?
Right. So that again, they led me on. A little disappointed that that's not where they went. I really thought that Strange was going to be fixing this multiverse that he destroyed, but whatever. A grief that I have is I agree, DX, with Vision. I forgave that sin because I thought that that's what WandaVision was about. Yes, WandaVision gave us Vision and the kids, but it was more of that connection of Wanda and Vision. And then she finally was able to say goodbye to Vision, and he said goodbye to her. We'll see each other again, kind of thing. And like they had that closure. So with the what stages of death, like she finally had that acceptance and accepted that he died, and the Darkhold took advantage of, okay, well, you closed that chapter, but you didn't really close any kind of chapters with those kids. All you did was say goodnight with them. Maybe I'm going to corrupt you this way. Maybe.
And I could be fine with that, but again, the white Vision floating around out there, like, why did he not come?
Yeah,
why did he not show up? Why did he not try? Why didn't Strange go get him and be like, help me fight Wanda, and talk some sense into her, and maybe she kills that Vision, right? Like, I mean, there could have been something cool that they could have done with that.
I thought he was going to be the
take
Eagles.
The other side.
I thought he was going to be the Eagles at the end of the movie and going to come flowing down, Wanda, fuck you doing, or whatever, whatever happens. But so with what I was just saying with them maybe giving an explanation or talking about other Vision, or maybe that Vision doesn't have those memories of him and Wanda because he is okay.
He gave him all his memories. He downloaded into the white Vision, then the white Vision. Oh, okay. I need to go think about this stuff. And then he
I got it. He didn't have cell reception where he was at, so no one could call him to say, like, hey, Wanda's messing with
I don't know, man. He's patched into the whole network. And
he's Ultron now, yeah.
She's up in Wundagore Mountain. Like, they don't even have magic reception up there. So
maybe he like ran out of batteries at that one moment and he had to like recharge or something.
Exactly.
But so there's that. But my biggest beef with this movie is I would have liked to see that transition from Wanda, hey, I just kind of enslaved a city, but like, or a town, sorry guys, my bad, to I'm going to murder everybody, and not just murder, but I'm blowing up heads, I'm twisting necks full around, I'm killing old ass men. Like, I'm killing literally everyone to get what I want. Like, I would have liked just maybe an instance or a moment of like she's talking like is this what I want, and then maybe you like hear a whisper, like you actually get to see like a bit.
You always
like,
want them whispering.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
You're always like, hey, go ahead, do it.
Yes, you just they're your kids, take them from her.
Yes,
well, that's a good point. Yeah,
that's great.
See, this is where I disagree with you, because I think it's more impactful if this is a conscious decision she's making on her own and not a decision of this thing telling her. Now, granted,
that's very Star Wars to me. That's very Anakin going from like, I don't want to kill the senator to like, I'm cutting off kids' heads. Like, it's a swift transition, and it doesn't make sense.
She also looked at it though like, I'm giving you a peaceful out. Like, just give me the girl and I won't do nothing. Like, I'll leave y'all alone. Like, this is easy. Like, she said, like, deliver to me her by sundown and we cool, we straight. Like, she was like, just leave me alone. Just give me the girl. Let me go away. Then I'm going to go to another multiverse.
And then kill a version of me so I can take her kids.
I don't know. But she did. That was her compromise, where she was like, look, I'm going to go and I won't touch nobody. But if you push me, then I'm going to fuck you all up. Like, so, like, they pushed her. So she's like, all right, I got fuck y'all up.
And this is the like the beauty of her evilness, like that transition, because what happens
She's
is
never been evil.
But that's
like
the thing,
there's no transition. She was never evil to begin
She
with.
had the dark hold.
we have
Yes, and that's
all
what they
that's
told
needed.
us.
Her
That's what I'm
fingertips
saying.
were black.
Yes, you're right. Her fingertips
no,
was black.
there's a psychological transition for us to feel consistent in the things that we
boy.
do. And what happened, look it up. There's research for consistency. And when
I'm
she
watching a movie,
started-
Fred. I like to see show, don't tell is what I like to see.
She was
Show me that she's
showing-
corrected or corrupted outside of like snow burnt fingers and them saying, oh, but like I will admit they did show where she went to at the end of WandaVision, the land, and how the land had been corrupted by the dark hold, and it was like red. Everything's red, right?
Yeah.
So it has to be evil.
All decayed. Yeah.
And that's the time that she had been spending getting eviler and eviler. And
exactly.
I think that consistency of I did these bad things and I have to be consistent with what I'm doing. And then, but I don't, because every villain doesn't see themselves as the bad guy, right? Like even Thanos thought he was doing what was right. And so for her, she didn't see herself as a bad guy. She was saying, I'm going to use a manipulation tactic and say,
right,
if you get hurt, it's your fault. I always go back to like The Simpsons and Lisa spinning her hands like this. And I'm going to walk at you. And if you get punched, it's not my fault. And then Bart's like, well, I'm going to kick. Or it might be reversed. And then, so it's like, if you don't get out of the way, it's actually your fault. But in reality, she's throwing the punches. So like,
and twisting the heads off old men.
Exactly. It just kept escalating and escalating and escalating. And that's how it starts.
I hear what you're saying.
Fair.
And I understand it. I still wanted to see some form of the book corrupting her. Maybe the book's floating behind her with like a Necronomicon
talking.
Face, like,
come on, Wanda! Come on, Wanda! Let's do this.
It's like massaging her shoulders as she's like,
yes.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So, but like it is what it is. I will say
got
that
your
is a
kids.
nitpick.
Go get them.
You gonna let her raise your kids? Those are your kids. I don't know. I'm okay with it. It's a small nitpick. And the rest of my beefs is, which I'll talk about probably a little bit later, are things that I wanted to happen that didn't happen. And DX, you already touched on a lot of that stuff. Like this, the Super Bowl ad. Our brains just started cooking and throwing that classic WandaVision Mephisto. This is what must happen in this movie, and it didn't. Yeah. And that's not any fault of the movies. It's mine.
No,
so
it's us. Our minds go crazy.
Yeah.
Whew.
And those are some good negatives, though. I see the point. I mean, we're over here just throwing jabs, but everything that you mentioned, I think is kind of going back to a lot of what I was saying as far as like, just give us like little explanations and say, 6 months later, so you get, or something like that.
So you want them to say, so everyone looks different in the universe? Oh, it's it kind of depends.
Nope. I want Doctor Strange should have landed in a spot real quick and then saw somebody else like in the studio, like, oh, that's an alternate version of me. Oh,
should have been Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
When it comes to multiverse and alternate timelines, it gets stupid. It truly gets dumb, and there's really no way to say there is one rule. That's why I think you're reaching for something that doesn't exist. Like you want an explanation on how a tractor beam works. Like it's not real. It doesn't work.
That's
but
right.
like you want them to say, well, at least tell me it reverses gravity and pulls the ship forward.
I think I could pinpoint why this bothers me, and because when we see John Krasinski as Richards, I wanted to know if that is a hint.
Spoilers,
that he's
everybody.
be,
Spoilers.
Yeah, this is a spoiler review.
Spoilers.
I wanted to know if that is a hint that he is our Reed Richards in the MCU, or
I don't care.
Possibly.
I don't care.
I want to know that, and so
Why?
because the rules are inconsistent, I can't.
Yeah.
If
that gives them an out.
That gives them an out.
Like if he doesn't want to do it anymore, he's not locked in. So then Frigginz is like, but you were in Multiverse of Madness. There's not makes no sense. You're supposed to be in the MCU. Like why can't it be the Reed Richards from the Josh Trank movie or from the other version? Like we saw
Definitely
in Spider-Man,
Josh Trank.
other actors can come back and reprise their role.
I see that
Eddie
point.
Brock only Topher Grace, or is Eddie Brock only Tom Hardy? Like, I don't care.
I guess I'll have my answer when we get the final, Fantastic Four.
I think that that's
film.
all you want. You just want to know who's gonna be Reed Richards.
Yeah,
I dig it, man.
Did we like anything about this film, Don?
Oh my!
Well, let's go. Let's
All
change
right.
gears, man, because we
Oh
spent
my
way too
gosh.
much time. And honestly, a lot of this shit's nitpicking. Like I said, especially
Yeah,
for
oh,
me,
yeah.
because I love
Big
this
time.
movie. So these are just things that kind of bothered me, but it doesn't take away from the movie, y'all. You know, so what we love, man. So I'm gonna say right away, obviously the Sam Raimi-ness. Like, I'm gonna go into that,
Agree.
right? Like,
Agree.
we are 28 movies into the MCU, and honestly, a lot of probably 25 of them are very formulaic. There's a very certain style, there's a very certain way that the MCU tells stories and the way the MCU shot. This was truly a horror movie. We saw kills, we saw murders, we saw ghosts, we saw demons, we saw spirits, like we saw
Squids.
monsters, we saw these things that we've never seen in an MCU film before. This took us down a road that we have not been to in the MCU. And it was awesome because you still had a character like Doctor Strange, and you had Wong, and you had the very bright color palette, and you had things that were familiar, but then you also tied it into all these different things of the multiverse, but obviously giving us scares and giving us jumps and giving us unique things, man. You know, Fred, you talked about the Strange versus Strange fight, right? Dude, the musical fight, throwing notes at each other, like, oh, whoa. Like, just that was awesome, man. Like, very unique, very stylistic, and I love that. Like, I really want to spend some time on the whole Illuminati thing. Like, this obviously was one of the biggest things going into the movie. Like, we knew there was an Illuminati. We knew Professor X was going to be one of them. And we were wondering, who are these other characters going to be, right? We see, you know, Baron Mordo come back, Chiwetel Ejiofor from the first movie. He's awesome, right? And at first you think like, oh, we're friends. Hey, Steven, good to see you. And then he tricks them, captures them, and
what's
then
going on with that.
Yeah, that dude's no good.
Yeah, it was good. But then, you know, it puts them up on the stand, you know, hey, you got to talk about your crimes, and we're going to talk to the Illuminati. And of course, you know, it had been rumored that we were going to get Captain Carter, right? That we saw first in Marvel's What If. We saw that there was a broken version of her shield on the poster, and were we going to actually get Haley Atwell in live action? And we did as Captain Carter, and she was awesome. We got the like we said, the other variant version of Captain Marvel with Maria Rambeau, which was great to see her coming back from the first Captain Marvel movie, you know, so you see a different version, different variant, so to speak there, Fred. You know, and then of course, dude, Black Bolt, like, we had speculated, we were like, who's gonna be on this list? And Black Bolt's name always came up, and we were like, if they do Black Bolt, maybe Vin Diesel, right? Like, we're gonna do something different, right? It's gonna be a different version of Black Bolt. Never, when he popped up and they were like, Black Bolticus Targetness, I'm like, huh? And I saw the suit, and I was like looking closely, and I'm like, is that Anson Mount? Did they really bring him back as Black Bolt? Because I did watch the Inhuman show. I watched the whole season. And he was a good Black Bolt. That was one of the highlights of the show.
I'm sorry,
all the actors I hear were pretty good.
Him and Lockjaw, they were great.
My condolences to your mind for having to watch that.
It's all right. It's all right. But I was like, because he had the full hood on and everything, I was like looking real. I'm like, I think it is him. And I had to Google it after the fact because I was like, was it Anson Mount? And it was. Okay. And I was like, that's cool as shit, because I would have probably bet every dollar in my bank account that they never, first of all, would have even went to the Inhumans. Second of all, actually got Anson Mount to come back and reprise his role as Black Bolt, which was just cool as shit. And then, of course, the Reed Richards thing, which my theater fucking lost their mind. Just woo! Everybody going crazy, right? The smartest man in the world, which was really, really cool. Of course,
smartest man in the world that says he's going to talk to you to death. Oh, well, let me just stop that from happening then.
That's like every one of your D&D characters, Peeps. Get out of here.
I
don't want the violence. Let me
don't
talk.
talk about my personal life.
Hey. So we get the Reed Richards, which had been heavily speculated for months because that was a big fan casting. Everybody wants John Krasinski as Reed Richards and Emily Blunt as Sue Storm, and we were like, oh, are they gonna do it? And they did it, obviously. So that was cool. And then of course Patrick Stewart comes up. He's in the animated yellow hoverboard, wheelchair, and he's got the green suit on. I mean, right out the cartoon. Very cool. Even had the little theme song, right? Saw it in the credits. It said X-Men 97 theme song.
Oh my
like,
god,
shit.
I got a tear in my eye. Like my eye literally got watery. I was like, oh, my heart.
So what a moment. And then I love that, so he's like, yo, Wanda's coming, and then they tell the story and they talk about how they're strange. I love the little flashback to Titan, and you see the dead Thanos with the stake through his heart, and then Black Bolt's just like, sorry, like blows him up, right? And it's just crazy, man, to see that whole like play out. And then of course Wanda comes, right? The whole dream walking aspect was cool as shit. I love the whole dream walking thing. Of course, we saw it later with Strange using the dead body to dream walk through. But Wanda getting to go into her other body and just wreck and shop, man, killing the whole Illuminati. I mean, in great fashion. Did any of you watch that video I posted in our chat?
Yes.
where it showed the Captain Marvel.
We can handle a little witch.
We can handle your little witch. She did not handle the little witch. It was so good. But yeah, man, just everybody trying to, dude, Mr. Fantastic coming down all stretchy. Please don't, well, do you have kids? Yeah, I do. Well, cool. Then your wife will be able to raise them. Bam, you're dead. And I was like, oh shit.
Crazy.
Just what a burn, right? To just be like, good, at least someone's there
didn't
to raise
say
the kids.
She was alive.
Yeah. She turned him into some, string cheese and he just unraveled. Dude, Black Bolt, she seals his mouth and he blows his own brains out from yelling. Oh my god, dude. They said, one whisper from Black Bolt and you'll be dead. Oh yeah, well, none of you can't talk.
That's just the way the camera pulled back. I was like, wow.
And his head, like after the explosion, the like shape it had, like I was just like
folded in,
so gross, man. Oh man,
insane. Of course, then dropping the statue on Captain Marvel, slicing Peggy Carter in half with the shield. Man. I was like, what is going on?
I was hoping Peggy would be the one to come out of it.
Me too.
Oh, dude. And
but
then of course
cool about
X,
that was cool about the multiverses. You could just go ape shit on him, like
wreck shop.
Yep.
Wreck shop, don't gotta worry about it. Just another universe's people. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then Professor X coming, trying to get into Wanda's mind. He's trying to help the other Wanda come out the dream. We need you to wake up so we could change these things. And then Wanda just snaps his neck. And it was like, holy shit. Like, I had to keep looking over my daughter, like, you all right?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't know how much death you just watched. It was insane. But dude, that whole sequence, man, like, and I've heard some people chatter online about like, oh man, the Illuminati got fucked up way too easily, blah blah blah. Like you said, man, like I was like, dude, like I was fine with it. Like this was always supposed to be a cameo kind of scene. They came in, we got the pop we wanted, and we got a really cool fight sequence, and she just murders them all. And it's just like, yo, like I got what I wanted out of this.
That's
one
for
of the best scenes
going forward. Like, I don't know who's going to be making those tough decisions anymore. Probably just Christine
Mordo
now.
Mordo
Mordo's there.
Mordo's
he
still
survives.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on my podcast. Like, he's just going to recruit all the B tier, heroes now. It's going to be like Hawkeye and Ant-Man.
There you go. So that whole sequence, one of my favorite things in the movie. We talked about the musical fight. All the action sequences were just phenomenal, man. I mean, starting right off in that weird multiverse where they're trying to get the Book of Ashanti, and and they're fighting the bands of Sidica or whatever. That was crazy. Obviously fighting the one-eyed octopus. Just and how gangster was it? Strange, man. Like, he's at the wedding, right? He sees the damn octopus. He's like, oh, okay. Takes a little sip, and he's like, woo, with his little cloak right off the balcony, and just like transforms into Doctor Strange. It was great. Classic.
I don't know about you guys, but I kind of like was hoping that he's like, I'm gonna go to the rescue, and then like Spider-Man swooped in and like stopped it, and he's like, okay, never mind.
I know this movie's definitely lacking some Spider-Man.
Yeah, he would struggle with that one.
Again, it's the middle of New York. Where the hell is everybody? There's a lot of superheroes in New York, man. Yeah. Why are they all fighting these things by themselves? But yeah, so really the horror elements, the different uniqueness of it being in the MCU, the visuals, the fights, the multiverse. I mean, the introduction of America Chavez, which again leads me once again to saying, man, we're really building towards those young Avengers, right? We've been almost every single show. We've been kind of introducing.
Man, we got like 20 of them now,
and we got we got the little Patriot kid from Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we got Wanda's kids if they decide to come back in from another universe when they're older, right? And we got Wiccan and Speed, and we got Miss Marvel coming out next month on Disney Plus, and I mean, there's so many, dude, that it's just like
Keith Bishop.
Yeah,
yes,
Keith the Bishop, mac and cheese. So yeah, I mean, it just. Dude, so much cool shit, dude. This movie just visually stimulating and entertaining across the board. Loved it. So I won't gush anymore. I'm gonna pass it on so you guys can talk about your highlights. Fred, what were the big things that stood out to you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, you had talked about the music fight. Like, when I saw those notes coming off the piano music paper, I was just like, this is something I never knew I wanted. And I absolutely love this. I thought that fight was just a standout situation. It was so cool on a level that I did not expect. And to cap it off with him using that like one note and like flinging that note at the end, that was just absolutely amazing. And I really appreciated the subtlety in that scene too, right before they started fighting, where like our Doctor Strange was like, who did this? And the other guy's like, we don't have time for that. Let's just go on. Because I wanted to know who did that as well. I was like, come on, tell us. Drop Galactus. Drop like whatever name it is. Mephisto. But I thought
I was still waiting for Mephisto in this thing.
Yeah.
This was the perfect movie to drop some Mephisto.
He should have showed up somewhere. And speaking of like Mephisto, demons, devils, and those things, the zombie Strange was again like something I never ever would have thought of or asked for. Yet it was something that I absolutely loved. Every aspect of that, like the horror element of him coming out of the kind of coffin or grave or whatever, and then that like control of the demons, turning him into his cape, just absolutely fantastic. I thought it was.
And Don mentioned the ramminess. And when Zombie Strange talks like every other zombie in like in every like evil, they're all like pirates.
Half my jaw's knocked off.
So that was super amazing. Another thing that I found really fun and cool was not only like I know of America Chavez, but I haven't read a lot about her. So I was just, she blew me away. I thought she did such a great job. She was such a cool character. And I really loved the graphics of how they utilized the star thing, because like in the comics, you see these just random stars. And I'm like, that's kind of silly. But the way they designed that was awesome. And I especially loved like every time she made an impact in something, that star would like, when she punched the glass, it ended up being in the shatter of that form of the star. Where she like landed on something, it was the form of the star. And I just thought that was kind of a cool little detail that followed her around throughout the entire film. So that was really fun. And I will also note that I really appreciated seeing a bad guy origin in Wanda, right? And the more I thought about it later, I was like, wow. So like WandaVision was the beginning of this origin for the evil version of Wanda, and this is where it leads us to. So I thought that was exceptional. You know,
You
we
didn't get
we
that from WandaVision?
I mean I did, but like it was like the path. But I at the end of WandaVision, when you see her like doing with the Darkhold, I was like, maybe she could still be saved. And then
Yeah.
and then we get into this, and you're like, oh yeah, that's not happening. So that I thought that was really cool, especially since we almost always are used to seeing the origins of the heroes. I thought it was kind of cool to have this like connection where and for the show to have actually connected to a film in such a way that
That's what I was
very,
gonna say,
very,
man. We finally got the Disney Plus universe kind of working towards a
Finally.
movie, right?
Yes.
Not the other way around, that we're always just like, oh, here's somebody from a movie in the show. We finally got that alternate connection. You know, that's something to where I strongly believe with this movie, like, you need to watch WandaVision. You know, like, this is one that, like, a lot of people have asked me, like, you know, like, hey, I haven't watched the movie yet. Like, what is there anything that I should watch first? And I'm like, you should watch WandaVision. Like, straight up. Like, I feel like if you went into this like only watching the movies, you'd be kind of confused on like, why the fuck is she all evil now? Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of odd that she would just all of a sudden look the way she does, have the powers she does, and be doing the evil things that she does. And then you'd be like, kids, where the kids come from? Like, I don't know, man. There's a big gap missing if you just jump over the show.
Yeah.
And
Maybe.
you literally went from like Endgame of her being like, you took everything from me, to Thanos, to all of a sudden in this just being evil, like pure evil. Which I was very happy to see that. I said from the second they added her to this movie, I'm like, she is going to be the big bad.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, no, she's going to help Strange. And I do appreciate the marketing, because the marketing has kind of kept it off the radar that she's the villain of this movie. Like, the way they edit it, make it look like she's fighting alongside people. She's with Strange, she's with Wong, you know, and that she's like a part of it. You know, that there might be some conflict, because you get that line in the trailer about the, you know, when you do it, you're a hero, but when I do it, you know, like, people judge me. Like, that's not fair. So, but to be the straight up, like, right out the gate, right when he goes and visits her at the thing, and she's like, you should bring America here, and he's like, wait a minute, I never said her name. And then it's just goosh red, like, oops, I fucked up. You should bring her here, because I'm gonna kill her. And you're like, whoa, like, she sent the monster, she did all this stuff. Like, that's crazy. Like, super, super cool, man. And I want to give it up to Elizabeth Olsen, who I just think is phenomenal. I mean, we loved her in WandaVision. She killed it there, and she's so good in this. I mean, instantly one of my top MCU villains. I love her, man. She's so good in everything she does, the way she portrays her emotion, the way she emotes, like, just everything, man. She is totally the MVP for me. Like, she brings this movie to another level. Like, if another villain came in this same exact movie trying to fight Strange, I don't think it'd have anywhere near the level it did, because it was actually Wanda as the Scarlet Witch, taking what we built up to in that show and just doing it on such a bigger level, man. So cool.
Have you seen any of her interviews for this movie, like after the fact and everything, when they're talking about like spoilers in the future of Wanda and all that?
I have not.
I've read a couple.
You know, I'm not going to quote all of them, but you know, you should definitely check those out. Like, her passion for this character, like,
it's big.
Like, she has nothing but like respect and admiration for this character, and they like, you know, are we going to see her again? And she's like, I can't say yes or no, but like, come on, like, you can't just get rid of this character. Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to see her again. And I'm like, I love that, like, because she's right, like. She, like, without a doubt, Scarlet Witch is my favorite MCU character.
Interesting.
And yeah, I dig it, man.
Well, the last positive I'll say before, and this is because it's like a good transition to you, Peeps, because it involves you. You know, when we're sitting there watching he looks around, when we're sitting there watching the movie, the scene where they're lining up for the Illuminati, Like I got so excited and my feet were like pounding on the ground because I was just like, what am I about to see? And Sean turns over to me and he just goes Rocky Balboa on my arm. Just
I was excited, man. I didn't know what to do.
I was just like, this is so cool. And like we could tell that Sean and I in that moment were like having this. I felt like I was like 8 years old again,
Yep.
you know, watching a cartoon. And
Yep.
it was just a cool moment of excitement to see what was in store for us with the Illuminati. So that was definitely a favorite moment watching it here. So
interesting.
Oh yeah,
cool.
Go Peeps.
Yeah, man. With that, like, I know a lot of people, they have their negative emotions about movie theaters. Like, they always just mention the worst case scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, the person with popcorn behind you and they're spilling popcorn on your head, and like the other person's coughing and sneezing and farting, and like I never have those kind of experiences on like an opening night big flick like this. Like maybe if I go on like a Tuesday and there's like 4 people in the theater and some people don't really care, maybe that'll happen. But like on opening nights, it is always like high energy. Unless we're watching like a Morbius and everyone's like, why am I here? Whatever. But no, I agree. I dig it and love it. But no, so for likes and loves, you know, I can obviously mirror literally everything that you guys said. There is so much to like and love for me with this movie. I love horror movies. I love Sam Raimi films. Man, Drag Me to Hell is probably one of my favorite horror movies. It's so wacky and fun with like an amazing ending. Watch it if y'all haven't seen that movie. But yeah, the Wanda versus Illuminati, the dream walking, just the idea of the dream walking, like they're in a different dimension. Is she just going to send a bunch of monster kaiju puppets after them? No, she's just going to literally come using the body of an alternate version of herself. It's so freaking cool. I also love, and thing that she mentioned in one of her interviews is, you know, she wasn't able to go full power Wanda like she did in the 616 universe because of the body that she was in. The 838 Wanda wasn't at that level of power. So though she was still very strong compared to everybody else, she would have done so much more damage if she was in her original body. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. That's great. Let's see.
That's cool.
America Chavez, you guys mentioned. I guess the goofiness and to go back with the I call it the Sam Raimi-isms. DX called the Raiminess. But the Bruce Campbell cameo, like loved it. Him hitting himself, like it felt very Evil Dead. The scene where Wanda's possessing Wanda, you like the camera, how it's like the spirit of other Wanda looking at her, like it again felt very Evil Dead, and looking at the coffee cup and there's like ocean water flowing in it. The picture when the everyone in the I get chills just thinking about it. It was such a good scene. And the zombie version and like the wings on the zombie like being a collection of spirits. Like, I love what I'm watching right now. I think I literally said that to Frigginz. Yeah. I love what I'm watching right now. It just was so cool. In terms of the scary elements, them Strange pulling the eye out of the Gargantos creature.
The whole theater was like, yeah.
I thought it was just going to poke it. You're going to see some eye juice come out, but it straight pulled it out.
Did the little pop.
Yeah, exactly.
It bounced a couple times like a ball. Like, oh my gosh! I was like, they really went there.
Yeah, my daughter goes, "Is that really what your eyeball looks like if it comes out?" So yeah, pretty much.
If you're a squid, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But like I will say,
the spot on eyeball.
The very end, which is not an end credits, I know we're going to get there, but the very last scene of the movie when Strange is like, and I'm like, what's happening? Is he going to be teleported? And then when they showed the eye, like, I was like, I wanted to scream, but like, I was so terrified at that moment of what I was watching. I was just like, It was a great moment for me. I loved it. Just my skin was crawling. It was so eerie. Oh, that eye every time it's going to pop up. It just doesn't look right. Anyways, but no, really good scene. Wanda still using her mind control that she did from the original Avengers, like that callback.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, she's
that's why I said
around.
To Geeky Pat, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like in Age of Ultron.
Same thing, and she's appears behind the kid, and
that
was
put down the shield.
Right,
that was awesome.
Yeah, I love that moment. The fourth wall breaking. Wanda kind of looking at the camera right when she got possessed. It's just like, I loved it. So I mean, I will literally say the whole movie. I loved the way.
It's hard to pinpoint on stuff.
And Don, I think you mentioned maybe no one did the traveling through the dimensions and how many videos people are going to talk about. Well, if you pause it here, you can see that this is the Raimi universe because of the billboard or whatever. Apparently, the Living Tribunal appears in one of those.
Yeah, I saw it.
Which I didn't. Yeah, it's like the first one that they break through.
Yeah, it's one. The first or second, you can see the big statues.
The 3 heads. So, man, just cool. And you don't want to get stuck in the paint universe. It's so weird, man. It's such a fun scene. So.
Well, one thing we didn't mention was the romantic connection aspect, and how with Iron Man we had Love You 3000, but here we have you I Love You in Every Universe, and I was just like, oh, so sweet.
That was beautiful.
But also this version that he finally was able to connect with sewed that additional design on the back of the cape, and he got that back with him, so now he'll have this this piece of her for as long as he has the cape, right? Because it's got that little blue patch that she fixed and put back on the cape. So I thought that was cool that he's got this little memento from this connection he built with this other version of her in this other universe.
And then just the character growth moment, him actually fixing the face of the watch and just kind of putting it away, and then finally bowing to Wong. Like, it was a joke for so long, and I never thought they were actually going to get there. But for him to actually do it, it's like, wow, all right. But I think that was obviously to steer us away from thinking, "Are you okay? You used the book after all." I'm fine, and then he bows and all that. It's like, oh, he's fine. There's nothing to worry about, guys. He's fine. He wouldn't have, Evil Strange wouldn't do that. But, exactly. I do also like the idea, and the What If showed us this as well, that Doctor Strange is literally the worst being that exists in a multiverse. Because in the What If, he destroyed a universe. We saw him literally do that. And in this one, they talk about another Strange also destroying a universe. There's no other character that we know of that's really done that. So that's kind of terrifying that Strange is capable of that. And, now we have just this. There's no more Darkhold, so technically there's probably no more other evil Stranges out there. I don't know. It's a multiverse. Who knows? There's probably millions. But,
lots and lots.
Our Strange, which is the one that no one would ever supposed to worry about. Do we have to worry about this one? Or is this third eye just him ascending to a new level of strength? We don't know. Fred wants to know. I don't know. I don't care.
I'm going to say he's good, but that's just me.
So really all he needed was the Book of Ashanti to kill Thanos? We didn't have to go through all the Infinity War and Endgame. So
but
I thought there was only one way for it.
It made him so powerful that he had to get screamed at to death. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah. I'm also thinking that version, that world, that universe, they're not as strong as 616. I mean, if Wanda could have literally just taken out the entirety of their, Avengers team, she probably could have also just done that with Thanos.
You might also be diminishing her strength. I mean, she's that strong that she could take out the big hitters of almost any universe, right?
Well, she didn't unlock it until after Endgame, so she didn't level up till way later.
And this one she could have been, parent the whole time. Those kids are
she
like.
Could have. We saw old. She almost. Yeah, well, we saw in Endgame. I mean, she could have. She scared him. That's why he was like,
Yeah,
"Rain
she
fire!"
probably was gonna take him out.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
She was ripping off his armor. He was like
Yeah.
scared shitless. He's like, "Oh fuck, she about to screw me up."
Yep.
Yeah, man, so much good stuff. I also want to really point out the just the whole scene of Kamikaze, like when she came, right? Like, and they were getting ready for her, and the cloud comes over, and she's there, and Strange flies up, and he's like, "Don't do this," and she's like, "All right, you gonna hand her over?" No, okay. Like, and just that whole fight sequence was incredible, right?
Yeah.
Especially once she got in. And like he trapped her in the mirror dimension, and then she
I
found the
forgot to
puddles,
mention that.
dude.
Oh my
and
gosh,
she was coming through the.
good.
She was trying to come out through the puddles. Then she came out through the mirror, all like the ring style, like all just yeah, dude. Like I was like, oh my god, like I mean, just that whole sequence was just phenomenal. Love it, love it, love it. I do want to spend a second because Fred brought this up earlier, and I actually had it on my notes, and I know Peeps doesn't care, but. John Krasinski, Fantastic Four movie. Is he going to be our Reed Richards? Make your guess.
I say yes because I think they're setting a precedent.
Okay, Peeps, what do you think?
I do think yes, they are going to put him in going forward. I just don't care enough about Fantastic Four, and even this version of Reed, I was blown away that the fact that the meme came to life. Like that blew me away. But outside of that, like he didn't really do anything, and I'm not excited to see him in any like it just didn't give me that a meh character with John Krasinski's great and everything, but like I don't know, it's just like putting like ketchup on pizza, you know. It's like two good things I like, but like I don't I'll try it. I'm open. Let's do it. So
I'm stoked. I think he has like the perfect look for the perfect Reed Richards for me. Yeah, you might look at old school Reed Richards and you say he's clean shaven and everything. The newer comics, he has the beard. He looks exactly like that. So I actually prefer a bearded Reed Richards. So
right,
I'm excited.
He can't shave. Like that's the thing that we cannot.
Impossible.
So, we gotta have bearded.
He's gotta be bearded.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks a little weird without the beard. I know that when the rumor first started, they were saying he was going to be kind of like a one-off variant version, right? Just because he was the fan casting, and it was kind of like, hey, we're going to give the fans what they wanted, right? It's going to be a quick scene. He's going to come in, shoot a cameo, be done. And I still think it could play out that way, but I have a feeling that because of the reaction to this movie, and I think maybe they haven't locked him in yet, and I think maybe they did film this as a hey, it's a one and done, but we'll give you a call and we'll see if things change, kind of a thing. And then the reaction has just been so hot from crowd reactions across the world, everybody being really stoked on it. I mean, like I said, dude, my theater fucking applauded. I don't know if your guys have made any action, but I mean, that's cool as shit. So that's gonna get back around, and I think they might be like, well, you know, maybe we should do this.
Hey, what are you
because
doing
it could still be a different, like he'll have a different suit, right? Like he'll be a different version. It's not going to be that one. Like he'll have a different suit. I don't think he'll have the kids, like how he said I had kids. I don't think he'll have the kids. It'll just be that early version of the Fantastic Four, you know. So we get a different kind of angle on it, but it's still that Reed, you know. And I still think he's the aerospace engineer that we heard about in WandaVision that we never got fruition on.
So still think what if his death, they're doing like a Kill Bill, creates like the Franklin Richards of the 838 universe to be like, who's responsible for this? They're going to pay. Because for those of you that know, his son Franklin is like omnipotent level strong, and he could maybe have caused that incursion, maybe that Clea's talking about later on, at within a different time. I don't know, but you know, just let that marinate for a second.
See, and here lies the problem with Phase 4, because we could come up with anything. You could maybe it's
until we saw that Infinity Gauntlet, we had no idea where Phase 1 through 3 was going.
I don't know. When they showed Thanos, it was kind of like, oh, Thanos is coming.
Yeah. He's gonna. I thought that.
Yeah, but
they
we
were
also
just
I
gonna
also thought
fisticuffs.
Thanos was gonna. We also thought Thanos was gonna be the big bad for Age of Ultron,
It's true.
but
It's true.
they stretched it out for another phase, and then went way bigger with it. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. You never know. All right, well, let's get to the mid and post credit scenes as we always do, kind of wrapping up this discussion. Of course, our mid credits, which was the main one here. You've heard the name Clea come up a couple times from Peeps over there. We got Charlize Theron, man, making a surprise appearance. We never knew she was part of the MCU. This was a nice little casting announcement, kind of like when they kind of shoehorned in a little Harry Styles at the end of Eternals, right? Like we were like, oh shit, like he's Thanos' brother. Like we didn't know he was in this. And then so we got Charlize Theron. She kind of pops out. It was funny because Gigi Pat thought it was Blink from the X-Men when she first came out, because she was all cool. Doing the little portal kind of jump thing.
She was purple.
And and I was like, I don't know, man. They would whitewash Blink, but I was like, I think it's something else. But we'll see. But yeah, so she ends up being Clea, who of course comes from the Doctor Strange universe. She in later comics, when Doctor Strange dies, she becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. She's mystical as well too. Her uncle is also Dormammu, and she comes from that dark dimension. So very, very interesting. Very interesting storytelling to bring her in a sequel like this, because we haven't heard about like instant plans for a Doctor Strange 3 or anything, but it's like, but to get somebody like a Charlize Theron to play this character, that means they probably got some big plans here to use her before then, which makes me think we're going to see Doctor Strange again soon. We're going to see her soon in some crossover event or something that they're planning before then, which could be very, very interesting. But yeah, she pops out and says, oh, there's been this incursion and you made it and you need to come help me. And of course he's like, all right, whoosh, cloak, let's go. And the third eye pops open and everything, and they jump in, and you kind of see that dark dimension just like the first Doctor Strange movie. And you see everything kind of floating in the background. So very cool, very interesting kind of first kind of mid-credit scene here. So Fred, what'd you think about this one?
Honestly, I didn't care. It was it was super cool to see Charlize Theron. I'll give that. Like, I was like, oh crap, they got her. But at the time, I couldn't connect who it was. I had asked like my cousin after it was over. I was like, hey, who is that supposed to be? And like, okay, whatever. They're going into the other dimension. That's kind of cool, but like, I don't know anything of Clea, so it meant nothing to me. So I was just like, whatever. Let's see what that means, So I just didn't care.
It didn't get you excited. It was her. It was Charlize. Like like seeing a cool actress kind of join the MCU.
I love Charlize Theron, so that part was cool. But like honestly, like it didn't really impact me just because I have no nostalgia. I have no connection to Clea in any way. So. I mean, it's just cool that it's Charlize Theron because I like her. Yeah. So yeah, but honestly, like really just meh about it.
That's interesting. I mean, I wasn't familiar with the character before this either. I had to kind of look into her, and but it's still, I was excited. I mean, I'm always excited for a new character, especially played by a great actress. And it just again made me very excited for the future. Like, where are we going with this? What's the next step? So regardless if I knew her character or not, it was exciting to kind of see another step in the further direction.
I think my problem is that we always keep seeing these other smaller characters that nobody knows or nobody cares about, when all we want are these other bigger characters that there's tons of that everybody wants. Like, look at the Multiverse.
That sounds like a Black Knight to me, and you were very, very interested in a Black Knight.
Very excited about Black Knight.
He was an Avenger. So
nobody gave a shit about Black Knight.
Nobody.
Nobody.
That's fair. That's fair.
Peeps? All right, Peeps. Would you have any thoughts of this scene?
I mean, I'm with Frigginz. I mean, it hit me on the same level as the Harry Styles cameo. We're like, that's neat. And it's neat that they're doing something else. I don't know what exactly they're going to be doing, but that's neat that they set up something for the future. I don't know. I love my Avengers, man. And whenever I see like a Mark Ruffalo or like Tom Hiddleston or whoever, like the classic Avengers pop up and interact with the, like when we saw the Doctor Strange and Thor for the first time in their little teaser, leading into the Ragnarok. Like, that was so cool to see those characters interact. So like, I would have kind of liked, even if it was just a silly little classic cameo. Old old Rogers or something. I don't know. But like I like I said before, I do think that they're leading towards the Secret Wars. I didn't get that. I didn't think of that initially, but I literally I was like, what is an incursion? They've mentioned incursion so many times. What does an incursion mean? I looked it up. I am like, okay, that kind of sounds like we're leading into some kind of multiversal situation. And
it almost sounds like the branches thing in Loki, right? Like it caused this weird kind of outskirt, like it's not the right path that it should be on. An incursion happens, so we kind of have this
before before everything's taken out, before the entire multiverse is taken out. So with Charlize, I would have liked to see her being cast as more of like a physical role. I know like she does a lot of those, like that. I can't remember the name of it, but the Lady John Wick movie. She's
Atomic Blonde.
Right? Yeah, like I would like to see, but I don't know. I have no idea if maybe she's kind of getting over that kind of action style, but it's fine. And then Clea being Doctor Strange's wife in the comics, like I hope they don't go that route. Like I love the love between that he has for Christine, and yes, I know they kind of closed it. I know.
Yeah, we closed that chapter.
I just want to see.
Now we like, what's up, Clea? What's up?
I do want to see it like happen, but you're right. I mean, it's just kind of like Andrew and Gwen Stacy, right? Like if a Mary Jane pops up in his universe, does that mean they're just going to immediately like rocket toward each other and like it was meant to be? Like I don't want it to be forced. Is all I'm saying. That's it. I don't want them to start the next movie. Hey, honey, you did really good with that last blast. Pew, pew, pew. Oh, honey, it's fine. Like, oh, I guess
you do
there's
the
a
dishes
now.
Yes, of course I did. Did you shut the oven off?
Of course I did. It cuts back to the apartment.
Yeah,
he's like,
of course I did.
Wong standing there with like a fire extinguisher. So, but yeah.
All right. Well, the second, our final scene after we waited through 7 minutes of credits was a gag scene, and honestly, like I gotta laugh, but at the same time, it pissed me the fuck off because I'm just like, yo, like I hate sitting through. Like we only get so many of these movies. I'm like, utilize the 2 damn scenes. Don't give me a gag after I've waited 10 minutes through credits.
Yeah.
Just to see. So we had gotten a little gag earlier in the movie with the Bruce Campbell cameo where Doctor Strange put a spell on him. So he's been punching himself for 3 weeks straight. And then the spell runs off and then he's like, it's over. And then it's like done. And it's just like, really? What the fuck?
Which is horrible.
Anything
like all he wanted was her to pay for the thing that she took. And now he's got
food is free here. No, it's not.
It's not free. Now he's got to punch himself for 3 weeks straight. Like, wow, dick move, Strange.
pretty fucked up.
Don said it all. I'm so sick and tired of these stupid after credit scenes. Like, I'd rather there not be something than something like this.
Yeah.
Although I will say there's a lot of Bruce Campbell fans out there. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter about people like really enjoying that. But I was just like, I was mad that I didn't get up and leave, and then I had sat there and waited for it. And I kind of like yelled at one of my friends that saw it before us. I was like, why didn't you tell me to leave?
Yeah, that's the big joke. He's like,
yeah, literally.
Yeah, he said if I had to sit through it, y'all gonna
you have to sit there.
That's fair. I would
Don't you leave.
Oh,
yeah. My, who laughed at it the most was my daughter. She was like, she thought that was so funny.
Oh,
He's
nice.
just like, it's over.
Yeah,
see, it played real well to the 8-year-old.
Very much of Ferris Bueller. You're still here?
Yeah, you're still here? It's over. But at least that was funny as a gag, like with Deadpool did it. But I don't know. This one was just and I love Bruce Campbell, but this was definitely a wasted opportunity there. All right, talking, box office, we always talk about, how well did we do over the weekend, for an MCU film when it opened up. So boom, Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness grossed $187 million in his debut to land one of the biggest openings of all time domestically and the second best of the pandemic era behind Spider-Man. Globally, the film has brought in almost $450 million. So big hit. I honestly thought it would hit the $200 million mark personally. But this is nothing to laugh at. At 187, I mean, it's in the top 10 of biggest debuts of all time. But man, I felt like my feed over the weekend was nothing but people watching this movie. Even on Facebook, just scrolling down, it was like at the theater watching Doctor Strange, at the theater watching Doctor Strange. I was like, damn. So like I assumed this thing would be like 200 mil plus, because I was like, I feel like everyone I know went and saw this movie over the weekend. So I was actually surprised it didn't hit the 200 mark. But very high. I mean, the original expectations were around 150, so coming in 187, and then obviously globally at 450. I mean, $500 million already in one weekend out. So this is massive, so congratulations there. That is pretty damn
kind of interesting
badass.
though, being on like Mother's Day weekend. It's like, where do I want to take my mom this weekend? Doctor Strange.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have gone another time, but you didn't because of plans and stuff. So
I hate to be a downer, but I do just want to. I think every time we're going to talk about how much millions of dollars they make, I have to throw out my little thing for my artists and my writers out there writing these comic books. They need to have like a little, like if they make a certain amount of money, toss some money towards the creators. These guys created the stuff for Marvel. They should be getting a little bit of incentives, and like they're even taking like straight up comic book page art and putting it in some of these movies. So they should definitely toss it that way towards those artists and writers. I just have to give a little shout out for some love for my artists and writers.
They should. They get taken advantage of way too much. So pay back. A couple mil. That'd be pretty nice of y'all.
Exactly.
You definitely won't miss it for sure. Yeah. All right, so let's go around the horn before we get to our MCU countdown and talk about our final thoughts and overall scores. So I will kick it off because I think I liked it the most out of all y'all. And basically, like I said, dude, I was super, super happy with this film. It was something different. And at this point, 28 films into the MCU, I want to see something a little bit different and something a little bit fresh. And that's very hard to do when you are 28 films into a franchise. But Marvel continues to develop and adapt and give us different things. And that's what I love about them. And this movie here, man, bringing in somebody like a Sam Raimi, having the mystical, but also having the horror and just, all the fights and all the surprises and the twists and the turns, and the acting was superb. And just, I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Strange. Like we talked about, Elizabeth Olsen, the MVP as Scarlet Witch, just so good. America Chavez, great addition. Wong, always awesome. So just some great stuff here. I absolutely loved it, and it would be a 5-star for me. So falls right in line here when it comes to the MCU. So that's my final take. I'll pass over to Frigginz. What's your final thought and your score?
Well, I did enjoy watching this film. It was a fun time. I had some complaints. I felt a little lost by the time I walked out. I had to sit there and simmer on it for a little while, but the experience of watching it was a hugely positive one. I found myself seeing things, as I said earlier, that I never knew I wanted. They were throwing very unique things at me, and it was a visual delight. I felt like I was seeing a lot of artwork be painted in front of my eyes. So it was a fun experience. With that being said, though, I definitely felt like there were sections of it that were a little draggy for me, that I wanted a little bit more out of, some things that were unclear that I wanted a little bit better answers from. And at the end of the day, I don't think I really want to watch it multiple times. I have zero desire to rewatch it again. Although I will say,
wow,
after you mentioned the 3D thing, I'm a little curious to see it in 3D now that I know that exists.
Let's go.
But other than that, I didn't have that desire to rewatch it again. But nonetheless, it doesn't take away from that experience in that moment of watching it. I had a fun time with it. So I give it a 4 out of 5 because it was really good.
All right. Peeps, what you got?
Despite my nitpicks, I found myself really enjoying this movie. We've mentioned it multiple times. The laughs, the horror elements, it felt like very well connected within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It gave me enough to be excited for going forward. It didn't kill anybody off that I didn't want killed off. I don't care what y'all say. Wanda she's okay. She's just hanging out. You didn't see a body, so she ain't dead. She's hanging out with Koba.
It was crushed. That's why you didn't see a body.
Fine.
There was nothing left. She just dropped a whole mountain on herself.
Yeah, she's okay. But I, nitpicks, and a nitpick I didn't bring up, but I 100% agree. I would have liked some mention, some inclination of 616 getting mutants going forward. It's a thing I've been wanting this whole phase, and they have not even touched on it. And for that reason, it's. And even like a potential Deadpool cameo. Like Deadpool was literally teleporting through time and space and multiverses. Like you have not have seen him hitting himself and Deadpool standing next to him. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. It's over. Oh, good job, buddy. And then like it just be like that. It could have been just that. So I feel like they could have done more with just. But it's I sound very I feel very greedy asking for that because they gave us so much in this movie. They gave us cameos that we weren't expecting. They gave us an Illuminati that we would never expected to see at this point. And it's rough. It's difficult for me. So but because I am stuck in that zone, I'm giving it a 4.5. I know DX how you feel about halves, but like I'm right there. I want to give it a 5, but those little like that the mutant, and even Inhumans, we saw both a mutant and Inhuman, and we still have no inclination if mutants or Inhumans exist in 616.
True.
So you could have did something there, but they still can. And so yeah, 4.5 out of 5. And I'm excited to see where else they're going to go going forward. So.
Yeah. The Deadpool cameo I would have just liked is just real simple. As they were going through all the universes, and you just have a Deadpool be like, like he just watches them go by, and he's like
doing that look with the squinty eye, and the big eye,
yeah. It's just a quick, just like and then they could have just CG'd that. They didn't even need Ryan Reynolds. It would have been all good.
That would have been awesome.
Be like, there he is.
Wait till you hear Peeps' description on his episode. So if you haven't listened to People's Forum today, go check that out. He has what I thought was an amazing Deadpool cameo idea. You had me cracking up in the car listening to it. So
nice. I'll have to check that out. All right, guys. Well, something that you all been waiting for, and that's the MCU updated countdown. Like we said, whenever we do the MCU spoiler reviews, we always like to end the show with our countdown of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we're just talking about the movies. We have not filtered in all the television shows into this. They kind of belong in their own thing. Maybe we'll start a list for TV shows. But the actual movies, like we said, 28 films. This is the 28th film in the MCU since its debut. And we always like to go around the horn and count these babies down and see where the new movie lands. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn over to Frigginz. I'll let you begin.
All right.
Run them down.
All right. I have to tell you guys, if you're keeping track of the things that I have put on this list from the last time, there was some big movements recently. I just went over and redid all these things. And things I had higher
without watching any of the movies again. He just
that's not true. Everything. I watched a lot of them over again, but I haven't watched some of them.
Spider-Man,
not Spider-Man. That's for sure. So there's been some pretty drastic changes here coming up. So
you always do this to me. All right.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to make some adjustments here, Peeps. The bottom 4 has not changed though. Number 28 will remain Iron Man 2. Number 27, Iron Man 3. Thor: The Dark World. Incredible Hulk. Number 24, Captain Marvel. Number 23, Eternals. 22, Avengers: Age of Ultron. 21, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I know you just
the fact that you have Ultron so low fucking kills me so much. Like every time,
but
it's so good. It's so good. Deserves so much more love.
I think I'm on 20. So that would be Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 19, Black Widow. And here's where Doctor
Oh.
Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, sneaks in at number 18, which shifts my 17 to Doctor Strange, the first one. I do think I enjoy that one more than the second one. Number 16 is the first Thor. Don't at me. I like that movie.
No.
It's a whole ton of fun.
Good movie.
Number 15, Ant-Man. Number 14, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I think this is where I'm going to start losing some folks. Because Spider-Man No Way Home has yeah, there you go. Spider-Man No Way Home has dropped down to 13 for me.
Wow, that went from 7 to 13.
Big
Okay.
drop,
Dude.
big drop.
And he's only seen it one time, so I think it's a very unfair drop, and you need to go watch Spider-Man again.
I think
because it deserves your
it's
rewatch.
Because I've only seen it one time. Like I have watched Black Panther more often than that, and I'm just like, every time I watch Black Panther, I like that
Spider-Man
movie more.
Just came out. You can't compare that to Black Panther.
Wait. Well, speaking of Black Panther, that moves up to number 12.
Good segue.
Number 11 is Thor Ragnarok. Okay. Number 10 is Captain America: The First Avenger. Number 9 is Shang-Chi. I have watched that movie a million times since it came out. Saw it in the theater like 3 times. Absolutely love it.
It's dropped 2 levels.
It did drop because in some rewatches recently, I had to give credit back to some of the ones that I had put it below. So putting Avengers back up at number 8, putting Civil War back up at number 7, Iron Man number 6, and then my top 5 remains the same. Spider-Man Homecoming number 5, Avengers Infinity War number 4, Avengers Endgame number 3, Captain America Winter Soldier number 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. And that's my list excluding the TV shows.
What was your 7 and 8?
7 is Civil War, 8 is Avengers, the first one.
Oh, okay.
And that's my top 28.
Okay. There you go. Peeps, run it down.
All right, let's run it down. Boy. All right. 28 is Iron Man 2. 27 is Thor 1. 26 is Iron Man 3. 25, Incredible Hulk. 24, Captain Marvel. 23, Eternals. 22, Thor. 21, Captain America: First Avenger. Number 20 is Black Widow. Number 19 is Avengers Age of Ultron. Sorry, Don. 18 is the first Doctor Strange. 17 is Thor Ragnarok. Sorry, Don. 16 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. 15 is Ant-Man. Then we get to 14, which is Captain America: Civil War. 13 is Spider-Man Far From Home. 12 is Spider-Man Homecoming. 11 is, this is adjustment from me, is actually Black Panther. So Black Panther is no longer in my top 10. So that's a big change. Number 10 is the original Iron Man. Number 9 is the original Avengers movie. Number 8, Shang-Chi. And number 7 is Multiverse of Madness.
Woo!
I'm surprised it broke the 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That deserves a 5-star right there. A 4.5. I bet you all these other movies are 5 stars. Yeah, see, thinking you're like, oh, these are 5-star movies. Why the fuck did I give it a 4.5? It is number 7.
Number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy.
5-star fucking movies.
Number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 5 is Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Volume 1. And top 3, I think we all share the same, is Endgame. Oh, no, actually, Don's is a little different. Yeah. But my number 3 is Endgame. Number 2 is Captain America: Winter Soldier. And my number 1 is, and will probably always be, Infinity War.
Exactly.
Yeah, those top ones are hard to beat.
Okay. All right. Well, Peeps' list is a lot better than Frigginz. So
mine is the correct one.
And now here's the definitive list for all paying attention. All right. Number 28 is Captain America, the First Avenger.
That's weird to me.
Number
Go ahead.
27 is Iron Man 3, which is way worse than Iron Man 2. I hate that you all put Iron Man 2 at the bottom. Number 26 is The Incredible Hulk. Number 25, Black Widow. Number 24 is Eternals. Number 23 is Thor, The Dark World. 22 is Iron Man 2. 21 is the first Thor. Number 20 is Captain Marvel. Number 19 is the original Doctor Strange. Number 18 is Ant-Man. Number 17, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 16, Black Panther. Number 15, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So this comes in at 15 for me. Now, this one I struggled with because I could probably move it up another 2 spots. But I was like, I don't know. I want to see it a second time and kind of see like where I feel after that second watch, if it shifts it up or if it keeps it the same, and kind of go from there. But right now I landed at 15. It is subject to change. Number 14 is Shang-Chi. So this is where I struggle too, because I'm like, I like these really kind of neck and neck. I love Shang-Chi and I love this one. And I'm just like, I don't know what I like better. And I kind of lean Shang-Chi to be higher for now. But like I said, I also saw Shang-Chi 3 or 4 times in the theater. And I've only seen Doctor Strange once so far. So we'll see where it goes. Number 13, Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 12, the first Iron Man. Number 11, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 10, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 9, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Number 8, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 7, Thor Ragnarok. Number 6, Captain America Civil War. Number 5, the first Guardians of the Galaxy. And then our Avengers films. So number 4, Age of Ultron. Number 3, the first Avengers. Number 2, Endgame. And number 1, once again, Infinity War, the greatest movie of all time. So that is the updated MCU countdown.
Nice.
It's just keep adding them.
Yeah. I was hoping that we would align like we do sometimes. Just across the board, but like we don't. Frigginz and I in a couple areas, but
we got a couple on the same.
Yeah,
it's just, and the thing is, they shift. Like sometimes the more I watch one, I might like it more, I might like it less, and then you
gets hard, man.
Yeah,
especially in that middle kind of area, because like I said, they're all movies you like. And you're just like,
right?
What are the little
I love all these
instances
movies. How do I pick one more over the other?
I mean, honestly. Yeah,
and
that's what we always say when we talk about
ones,
this countdown.
I was gonna say, even the worst ones aren't that bad either.
No,
they're still decent.
I'll watch any of these. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, is that we say it every time we do this countdown. Is like, just because it's in the bottom tier doesn't mean it sucks. It just something's got to be down there when you do a countdown. You just never know where it's gonna be. And I'm glad Amanda agrees that Infinity War is number 1. Only Fred picks Endgame over Infinity War.
I like Endgame. I like the cap.
Endgame's great. That's why it's number 2. But,
yeah, exactly. I don't like it when the bad guys win.
All right, guys. Well, that is our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us here for this special Am I Still in the Air? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness spoiler reviews. So let's go around the horn and make sure that you know where to follow everybody and keep up with all the good peoples here. So we'll start over with my boy Frigginz. Where they got you?
Well, I try and make it as simple as possible. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Letterboxd if you want to see all the crazy lists that I have. All at Frigginz. That's Frigginz. Frigginz with a Z. And I pop up here and there on Am I Still on the Air here at reddragonsradio.com, as well as the People's Forum with Peeps over there. And hopefully we'll have something else cooking up here pretty soon to chat about. So hopefully I get to chat with y'all again in the very near future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cooking it up. All right, Peeps.
Yo, well, as Frigginz just so lovely mentioned a couple times, I do have my own podcast called The People's Forum, PEEPLES. I'm on the Twitters, number 4, my people. See, it's right down there. It's that at the Twitters. Unfortunately, I guess they're taking the podcasts off Facebook, which I don't really think was a big thing
Yeah,
at
that
all.
lasted a whole 2 months.
Yeah, right. So, but I definitely on the on the iTunes, on the Google Podcasts, on Spotify, if that's your platform of choice. So yeah, I have a new episode every Monday. I try to get other little review episodes out there. Haven't been able to do that lately, but as the dude said, hopefully I can get both of them on, and we can talk a little bit about another Marvel property that recently wrapped up. So yeah, we'll see.
We head into the Disney Plus land, baby.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
check it out,
yeah.
check it out. All right, so check out all the podcasts over there on reddragonsradio.com, all one word there. Follow on Twitter at Red Dragons Radio so you can always know what's going down. And of course, for here, follow the show Am I on the Air? Right down there, like we said, all one word, Am I on the Air? You can follow me directly at DONMEGA. And of course, you can see on the very bottom ticker there our official website, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the TikTok, all the special stuff. We're streaming on all your favorite podcast platforms, so make sure you check it out, whatever is simpler for you. Of course, we always have the audio podcast. We love doing the video podcast here when we do the Am I Still on the Airs? And of course, the regular show airs every Monday night, usually also, where we bring you the latest and greatest in entertainment news, television, movies, and reviews. We break it all down for you on Am I on the Air? So make sure you check it out there and subscribe to that. So once again, that'll do it for us here tonight, as we are so happy that you joined us for the Am I Still on the Air? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness spoiler review. And man, I guess we'll be back in about 2 months now for Thor Love and Thunder, baby. I'm so excited. My most anticipated movie of the year. I am ready to go, and I'm ready for my next MCU interaction. So let's
wait
do
to
it.
see the drop the hammer.
Also ready to hear
Want
how
me to put the hammer down.
Also ready to hear how disappointed you'll be at the throwaway end credit scene that they'll have on it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be terrible.
Oh, it will be. Another Jeff Goldblum aimlessly wandering around.
And one more special shout out to everyone that joined us in the chat here this evening. We appreciated chatting with you along the way. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Hell yeah. Thank you as always for everybody that stuck with us for the whole 2 hours. And definitely, let your friends and your family know. Anybody that watched the show and you think they'd enjoy listening, send them on our way. We'd really appreciate it. So hope you all have a great night, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.